Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Hope everybody's having a very terrific Thursday. Yeah, I hesitated there. I forgot what day it is. It's day I'm leaving actually town. So I'm gonna get the market outlook video for the week out today. It's gonna be out Thursday afternoon, and really we've already gotten the information we really wanted to know for the week. NVDA earnings. So we'll take a look at some of that. But this will be the market wrap up for the week, and I will be back on the live stream Tuesday. All right. So, yesterday afternoon, before we even got to the close, huge pump here right at the end of the day. A lot of people got bullish. A lot of Wall Streeters went bullish. Like, oh yeah, we're going to NVIDIA earnings. Bullish, bullish, bullish. Very nice close. We actually closed higher than the open that day. Today's gap up on the SPY here up 1.4-ish%. Very nice. And a very steady, slight uptrend to the day. That is how the SPY has been going. Very nice. This was all about one stock, and we'll talk about that later. Q's. Q's also a nice little uptrend there. Throughout the day, Q's had a huge gap today. Obviously, it should be because of NVIDIA. Q's gapped up 2.1% there on the day. Woo, nice. So Q's looking pretty good, still uptrending. IWM a little bit more choppy, not as much of a gap, kind of, but you know, still uptrending, looking pretty good there. DIA, nice gap up, trading higher, up 1.1%. All right, RSP, gap up, trending higher, looking pretty good, up 1%. All right. Here's a look on the daily. RSP looking pretty good here, starting to kind of get its breakout going, kind of run up here. Looking pretty good. Kind of mentioned this couple over the past couple of weeks, looking as we were breaching over these highs that we had over the previous couple of months. But man, we had a hard time like really holding through here, but it's starting to look pretty good here on the RSP. The DIA looking pretty good there. All-time highs today on the DIA. IWM looks like we found a little bit of a base bounce. Hasn't quite filled this gap. Still have this island reversal here. Okay, Q's. For how bullish the Qs are today, they still have not hit the all-time high. So that just kind of tells you how much they were really selling off here over the previous couple of days. I mean, they didn't even gap above the weekly high. I mean, they've traded above it, obviously, but they didn't gap up over it. So, I mean, I just think that's kind of telling, right? That's kind of telling for how much of the other big tech stocks, the big weights, you know, just not been playing ball all that much. NVIDIA did its best, held up the market. A lot of the other big tech stocks are doing good today, but should they be? And that's the question. SPY, look at SPY, gapped up to an all-time high today. Look at that, so delicious. So nice gap up here on the SPY. I would imagine if you are probably looking at, you know what, I would leave stop losses here for now. If you wanted, you could definitely move them below yesterday's low there on the SPY. Kind of mentioned this over the previous 2 days here on the Qs, though. Like, hey, you're just kind of trying to make a judgment. It's okay if take a little bit off the table. You can always get back in. You know, I was thinking more like 20%, 25% or something like that. Mostly because we were seeing some pretty good tech selling, but we weren't really seeing selling in other areas. So it wasn't like we were getting completely wrecked. So it was one. It's like it's okay to take some off the table and you just get back in if you want to get back in. But it wasn't bad to be protective. You didn't know what NVIDIA is going to say, or did we? Let's talk about NVIDIA before we go look at other big tech stocks. So NVIDIA crushed. Here's the interesting thing. Okay, let me bring up this earnings number down here. Beat on revenue. Yeah, we knew that. The interesting thing, their earnings, they actually had guidance for 5.1. You see it came in at 5.16 to like 5.6 or something like that. That was their guidance. That was the range of their guidance. Why was the estimate 4.6? Like, that was an easy bullish bet in my opinion. I mean, I didn't, and honestly, all the selling past 3 days made sense to be bullish. That was why yesterday on the live stream we spent a little bit more time looking at kind of bullish type of ways to play NVIDIA. Okay, I didn't want to focus so much on the bearish side because I didn't think NVIDIA was going to disappoint. Really, I thought if they did disappoint, I figured there was going to be like one area that's going to get crushed, and it was the Qs. And you see the Qs are up 3% today. NVIDIA's up 15%. NVIDIA crushed. They're doing really good. But here's the interesting thing about on NVIDIA in the markets. It is, and this is just the story of the markets right now. It's an NVIDIA story. It is not a stock market story. Period. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, none of Meta, they're not seeing this growth. They are not seeing this. So with them being up that much, is it justified? I would basically say no, it isn't, because they're all paying NVIDIA for their chips. The only one other stock that's basically kind of seeing it is Taiwan Semi. It's not an SP 500, but it's Taiwan Semi. They've started to see an increase in revenues. Right? You see the there we go. They've started to see an increase in revenues again. So, it's already here. I'm sorry. This past quarter, they had an increase in revenue, and that was, they basically had said, hey, we're raising our prices on some of the semiconductors we make, and mostly they were kind of alluding to NVIDIA's AI chips. So you ride it until it stops riding. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's why, the past couple of weeks, I'm just saying, be protective. You let it run. You're not going to get out the top. Don't try. But you find great pivot levels, and you say, okay, we break that. That's definitely a change of direction. Below yesterday on NVIDIA, that's a great pivot level to put some stop losses. Take a look at the other big dogs. AAPL, bouncing down here again, same kind of level area. Obviously, back on Tuesday, we got below that January low. We have not gotten below their earnings low, but now we're bouncing up into the moving averages. Maybe we start to have a breakdown. So, it is what it is. What about Microsoft? Microsoft has a very nice possible head and shoulders formation kind of setting up. We got a shoulder, neckline, head, neckline, possibly another shoulder going to set up here. I'm not going to call that. I like Microsoft a lot. The company, they do very well. They know their business. Satya Nadella also does very well. But yeah, if you get that breakdown of that neckline, I mean, you're probably looking to play it. Mostly because, then we're trading back down below these lows. So yeah, that would make sense. Look at Alphabet. Alphabet, gap up today, it's faded. It's not even up 1%. What a scrub. It's still doing pretty good today. But none of these stocks look nearly as good as NVIDIA. That's kind of the point, right? What about Amazon? Amazon, gapped up, trading higher, up 3.5%, looking pretty good there. You can say that's probably some momentum continuation from earnings, sideways consolidation, pushing higher. And the last one, Meta here. Yeah, gapped up, sideways consolidation, continuing to push higher, and bullish up 4.5%. Looking pretty good there on Meta. So some of them don't look good. The two that actually do look the best out of the few big tech stocks that we just looked at are Meta and Amazon. They both gapped up on their earnings, and they've probably just had some built-up momentum to continue to push them higher. They just needed another catalyst. NVIDIA was that catalyst. So looking pretty good. So let's look at a few other things, okay? Let's look at the normal stuff. VIX dropped off. What was the big event for the week? NVIDIA's earnings. NVIDIA delivered. VIX dropping off. All right. It's still, it's not getting back down to, below 13 or whatever, but definitely a nice drop there today on the VIX. Dollar, look at the dollar. Huge hammer here. Oh, my goodness. Huge hammer fall off overnight. My goodness, look at that drop off. All right. So dollar, huge drop off there, bouncing back. That looks dangerously bullish. Jeez. GLD, I guess the dollar, yeah, the dollar move was all overnight, so there's not much move here on the GLD. Dollar is flat, GLD kind of flat, so not too much kind of going on there in the intraday. I'd be curious, did we see that in the gold futures? Not really. Not really. I mean, we did. Like, there was, obviously, when the dollar was getting crushed, you saw gold rallying, and gold dropped off after dollar bottomed, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you expect. It just, it's not as big, it's not as large of a move as what the dollar had. What about the 10-year yield? Very much looking really sneaky bullish here. A very subtle climb higher today. Look at the 5-minute. Oh, let's go to 15-minute. 15-minute, nice little climb higher here. Basically, since yesterday's midday. Kind of like a little double top here, a little lower high. Might be setting up a pennant pattern as well. We'll see. I'll be curious to see how yields actually close for the week, because they don't look bearish. And this is, if you want to know the one thing that will derail the stock market, it's going to be yields. If yields continue to push higher, this is going to be a real problem for equities. A real problem for equities. And they don't look bearish. I mean, they don't look bearish. You could say that we're getting a little bit of a false breakout higher today, coming back down, not closing above it, but we haven't closed yet. And also, I would be more willing to see how we close for the week. So be curious to see how we close tomorrow on Friday. I don't think I'll be able to check in. We'll see. Typically where I'm going, I don't get reception. 10 and 2 inversion, dropping off there. All right. Okay. Maybe it's just going to continue to come down and consolidate some more. Fair enough. HYG still in this consolidation range. Looks like it definitely broke this uptrend, or I'm sorry, this downtrend. So yeah, looks like it's not going to be ready to break down quite yet, which is kind of interesting on the HYG, because we're not really seeing yields drop off all that hard, but HYG's up pretty good. LQD not getting back above the moving averages, could just still continue to get pushed down. TLT just kind of holding on here, getting pushed down by the moving averages. Yeah, it's looking okay. Let's take a look at sector rotation, wrap this up. Obviously, on the day, we got a huge gap, so it'd be interesting to see how things have performed during the day. XLK, yeah, we know the XLK got actually beat down pretty good here over the previous 2 days. You can see XLK doing pretty good. Obviously, a huge gap up there. Everything else is underperforming, and it makes sense, right? Everything is doing really well. Just semiconductors. Go look at any of the semiconductors. I'm looking at AMD, Intel, like. A lot of the semiconductor stocks are doing pretty good today. So they're all in the XLK. NVDA's there, Microsoft's there, AMD's, Apple's there. So yeah, XLK doing pretty good. Discretionaries, all right. Communications, they're still doing pretty good. Obviously, they just don't have the weighting of the outperformance of what the XLK is doing today. But they're still doing pretty good. Financials, okay. Industrials, healthcare, materials, energies, staples, real estate, and energies, staples, real estate, and utilities. I don't know if I said that wrong. Okay. But how have things moved intraday? This is the more telling part, because there was such a large gap today. How has the market really kind of performed throughout the day? XLK has kind of performed in line with the market. You see, it's kind of hard maybe for you guys to see it. But this line right here, I mean, you can see basically since about an hour and a half after the market, it has basically been in lockstep with the S&P 500. So XLK Tech kind of in line there with the market. Energies have actually done sneaky well today. Done very much, probably better than what I would have thought. Discretionary communications doing pretty good. Speaking of communications, I heard there was a big cell phone outage. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile all kind of hit with that. Sure, I think they were down 1% when I looked at that this morning. So that just tells you how good of a day Meta, Amazon, Alphabet, they're all having, because they're Meta and Alphabet, I guess, because Verizon, AT&T were all down pretty good amount. So staples, financials, healthcare, tech, industrials kind of in line with materials, utilities, real estate, man, real estate. Okay. This might be because yields. I mean, yields are still kind of sneaky looking good. Still sneaky looking good. All right, let's take a look at sector rotation for the week. All right, so we got. Let's see here. Wow. Yeah. See, this is kind of what I was. This is crazy. This is kind of what I was mentioning. Like, I mean, tech was just getting hammered Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Hey, came back and joined the party. I mean, look at that. It's crazy. Like, we had pretty large deviations, and then everything got jumbled back together on Thursday. It's kind of an interesting look there. Is that discretionary is actually at the top end there, as well as staples and tech. You also have communications, financials, industrials, energies, materials, healthcare, real estate, and utilities. Okay, yeah, you can definitely see. What is this? Is this staples? Is this staples? That is staples. Okay, so staples are actually doing pretty good. Tuesday, Wednesday. Tech was not, and then the gap, the huge gap from NVDA, and doing really good today. But it just brought everything kind of back in line for the week. That's kind of nuts. It's like everything's separated Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it all kind of came back together.